Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Today is August 14th, a Wednesday, and you know what? The world is heading into a crisis. It's going to be a financial crisis. That's what it's going to be. Argentina, well, their stock market took a big tumble, but listen, all around the world, here, there, and everywhere, just about every country, there's crises developing. These are developing crises. They're not fully exploding yet into what they can be. These developing situations in the world, but there's just so many of them. And the world's financial system right now is on the brink of collapse, but it's not collapsing. Central banks are kind of holding it together just a little bit, you know? We're not going to get through all these crises that are developing. One of them is going to be our black swan. And it's going to, because the world's financial system is ready to roll over. We're not going to get through this next period. It's just too many. There's too many things developing. There's too many irons in the fire, as the old saying goes, you know. Anyway, let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. Now, gold and silver is advancing upwards today. And silver right now is at, silver's at 15, gold's at 15.15 and 15.16 ask, and it's advancing upwards. Let's take a look at the silver chart today. See what's going on with silver. 17.20, and it's advancing upwards as well. Safe haven asset. Everybody's scared. They know all these situations are out there. I've never seen anything like it myself. Let's move on to cryptocurrency market capitalizations today. 280 billion, 67.7% Bitcoin dominance, and we're looking at somewhat of a fall in the prices of a lot of these coins. Bitcoin Cash is holding in there though. You know, $337. Look at the price of Litecoin, $82. And you know, we're almost ready for a halving on Litecoin. But you know, this deflationary pressure that's out there, there's a lot of deflationary pressure starting. They're going to have to do something about that. And they will. They will. The Fed and the other world central banks will follow suit. In fact, they're already leaning in that direction. They're moving in that direction. It's not going to take much to push them in that direction so that they really take hard action or a lot of action in that direction. Right now, they haven't taken much. All the Fed's done is one 25-point basis point cut. That's it. That's all they've done. That's nothing. You know, they're just ending a tightening cycle. They've done practically nothing. They've propped up markets. That little bit of nothing's propped up markets. But you know, the market it's in a stage where it doesn't realize its own demise. It doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have a brain. It realizes its own demise only when it gets to that point where it just. And what we've seen, look, let me show you. Argentine market suffers the biggest crash since 1950. Look how much they dropped. Right here. The S&P Merval Index plummeted 48%. Could this be a harbinger or a tell of what's coming to our markets? A 48% drop? Unbelievable, but things like that do happen. Take a look at 1929, and the stock market crash in 1929. So what's the Dow doing today? Well, down 361 right now. Just a sudden plunge, you know. Just as quick as it went up, it goes down. Yesterday, you know. The smart people are the people that sold at the top of that little pop yesterday in the market, I guess. Anyway, down 361 points at the start today. Let's take a look now at crude oil. Crude oil's off too. $1.60, 2.8%, $55 for sweet light crude. A lot of trouble in the world. It's popping up here, there, and everywhere. And I'm going to tell you, we've had an explosion uh, in the bond and equity market, in the bond market, but the equity market, I mean, let's take a look at U.S. Treasury. What are they doing today? This is relentless. This onward march of falling Treasury prices, absolutely relentless, and now it's starting to take us into uncharted territory. You know, look at the big drop in the U.S. 30-year Treasury today. Look at it. 8.6 basis points in one day. It's just barely holding its head above 2% now. If this continues, we're going to see the 30-year drop below 2%. If this continues, this relentless march in falling yields. It's amazing, to tell you the truth, to actually watch this unfolding in real time. This is a spectacular rush into purchasing U.S. Treasuries. It's astounding. It is. It's astounding to see, because for one thing, it's absolutely relentless, and it's actually picking up steam. Today, these are big moves in Treasuries, all the way across the yield curve, out all the way to the 30-year. We're starting to see big moves in the 30-year. We weren't seeing that earlier. Now we're starting to see big moves in the 30-year. Over 8 basis points in one day. That's a big move. Let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index, 97.76. The dollar's riding fairly strong, and I'm going to tell you, with this kind of trouble, an awful lot of people are going to want to be in dollars. Quite serious, and a lot of people are going to want to be in cash. Especially when this thing starts to approach closer and they can really start to look at it in the face. Let's take a look now at what is universal suffrage. The concept of universal franchise, also known as general suffrage, or common suffrage, consists of the right to vote of all adult citizens, regardless of wealth, income, race, what ethnic class they are. And this is something that we're so used to over here in the West. They don't exclude you from voting just because you're not in a certain wealth class, or you're not you don't have a certain income, or you don't have the right race, or they don't exclude you from voting. You're allowed to vote. We're used to this. This is just common, ordinary thing. This is one of the demands that the protesters in Hong Kong have right now. This is one of their demands. But we're so used to this. This is just standard stuff. Doesn't everybody have the right to vote? Wanted to point out something else. Deutsche Bank, got to keep our eye on them. I'm telling you, of all these other problems in the world going on, I tend to take my eye off of Deutsche Bank, And as soon as I take my eye off of Deutsche Bank starts to slide. Deutsche Bank's not far above right now of collapse. their stock prices just barely above collapse, and it's been sliding, and I haven't been keeping my eye on it so good. Just like yesterday, I pointed out their price was €666. Now it's 6.13 this morning. So it's dropped 3.8% just, in the last day or so. Got to keep our eye on Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank's got this huge derivatives book, see? It's a massive thing, this giant purse that they have. And that purse is so big, it's got so much money in it, in derivatives. If it folds over, it could cause collapse of an awful lot of the financial system within the gears and levers of the financial system. If that goes in, it's just going to lock everything up and create an awful enormous mess all by itself. Now, here's the thing I'm going to turn the charts off and point out one thing to you guys. I'm going to use an illustration. Why Hong Kong is such a desperate situation. Here's the thing. Picture Hong Kong like a giant machine. The mainland Hong Kong, like a not Hong Kong, I mean China. Mainland China. Picture it like a giant machine. And everything on that machine is metric. All the nuts, the bolts, the parts is all metric. They don't fit with standard SAE or standard parts like we have here in America. Everything made in America is standard size. So you got the mainland China, which is all metric. Picture that in your mind. Just picture a giant machine that's metric. Now Hong Kong is a special fitting. It's like an adapter that goes between metric and standard so that they can screw on the nozzle and the water can flow through. Like water being, I'm using this as an illustration for like trade. Trade is like they can trade. So Hong Kong is the hub for trade for all of China. And this hub is like an adapter that goes between metric and standard so that we can trade with them. See? This is why it's so crucial to the world's financial system. If that adapter stops functioning properly, well, everything's going to get screwed up in the whole mechanism between trade flowing between China and the rest of the world. If that adapter gets messed up. And so that's what we got right now. This represents a problem within the adapter. An enormous problem. And it'll mess up world trade because we have to have that adapter working properly in order for our standard SAE size socket wrenches and stuff to fit the metric of China. See, China's totally different. They are a totally different kind of system than we have over here, you know? And so, but we have been trading with them rather successfully, and Hong Kong's the reason. So now we got all these protesters in Hong Kong. China's gathering a force together. And what happens in Hong Kong over the next few weeks could be critically important to world trade. And this could have a massive effect upon the entire global system of world, not only world trade, but commerce and everything else. And that's going to this will have a collateral impact on the entire financial system, which is on the brink of collapse anyway. Listen, thank you guys for listening. We got to keep our eye on Deutsche Bank really good, but we also need to keep our eye on Hong Kong big time, you know? We'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye for now.